Слава Ісусу Христу!
Слава навіки, glory forever.
Слава навіки, glory forever.
It's so big pleasure to see all of you here today. I hope that you all had a beautiful day and beautiful week. I wish that to have a little bit more time that to hear also your sharing about your week and everything was going on around you. Okay, so we are going to start our new session, new lection, and as usual, that we have our good tradition. Let's start this section with a prayer for every one of us, and also prayer for Ukraine. And I asked last time for the volunteer. I will ask today again for the volunteer who would like to start our lesson with a prayer, and Father Roman will bless us.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Christ, my Lord, the giver of light and wisdom, who opened the eyes of the blind man and transformed the fishermen into the wise heralds and teachers of the gospel through the coming of the Holy Spirit, shine also into our minds the light of the grace of the Holy Spirit. Grant us discernment, understanding, and wisdom and learning. Enable us to complete our assignments and to bound in every good work. For you we give honor and glory, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, both now and forever, to ages of ages. Amen.
Amen. Father Roman, please bless us.
The blessing of the Lord be upon you with his grace and love for mankind, always now and forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, and thank you for the prayer, for the blessing, and let's start our new section. And today, let me share my my screenshot. I think it will be this one. Okay, can you see my screenshot?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay, as we started last time, we started from the beginning of the life. And today we are going to continue our topic, and today it will be a little bit intensive day for us, as we are going to spend some time, and we are going to talk about so important moments of our life, specifically the beginning of the life. We are going to talk about abortion. We are going to talk about stem cells and experimentation of stem cell, fertilization, the artificial insemination. We also briefly, we will include to our topic as surrogate motherhood, or also we are going to talk about adoption of the embryo, and etc. This is, I will see how much time that it will be necessary to stop and explain for every moment of our topic today. And as well as usual, I'm asking every one of you, if you have, when you have any questions, comments, and also if you have any case life situations that you would like to share with the group or privately, please share, and I will be definitely more than glad to go through this situation and do all this stuff together with you. Okay, as we started, we only, if I'm not doing any mistakes, we started last time and we briefly include and we briefly started to talk about what is the person and how we see the person, and how, like, for example, Betty explained the person in total. I wasn't able to play the video last time, but it was interesting because with another group, I played the video, and only that I can understand, it was very challenging that I couldn't put on a whole screen. I will try to play one more time, and I hope that it will go through. I wasn't able to share with you because this video, particular video that I wanted to share with you, I wasn't able to find in YouTube, and the link that I'm using, I wasn't able to share that one. But I'm going to start to play with you, and please let me know if something will stop, freeze, or you wouldn't hear the sound, or it wouldn't go. Okay, let's do it.
I think you should be all right as long as you don't put it into full screen.
Yeah, this is it, like I'm trying to do that. Let's do it. Let's try. Can you hear? Can you see him?
We can see, but no here. Not here.
Okay, let's. It's fine.
Yes, yes.
without sound. Thank you.
Yes, sound.
Okay, and I really wanted to share this video, and for our specific topic today about the life, about the beginning of the life. And this is we can talk about the life really for many hours, but when we see when we see the life, when we can see, and with our technology, really we can experiment, we can see what is the life means and how the human life is fragile in one point, but from another point, it's really unpriceless, and the value of the human life is unconditional value. This is something that I really wanted to show you. Let's now continue. I see Bogdan, do you have something to comment?
Yes, in the video I noticed the Facebook of some organization. Can you share that link, at least that organization?
Yeah,
It's
we'll do it.
Yeah, and we can follow this organization on Facebook. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I will do it. Okay, now let's continue with that. And I did quote some documents, some church documents already the last time. I wanted only to quote and one more time read a very important document, Dignitas Personae. Dignitas Personae is like we use Dignitas Personae, Donum Vitae, all these documents, they so important and they really open the biggest value of the human life, and they give us a lot of ethical and moral guidance, how we have to treat and how we have to see the human life and everything what is around human life, and all steps that human life takes from the beginning till the end. And the Dignitas Personae is telling us the dignity of a person must be recognized in every human being from conception to natural death. This fundamental principle expresses a great yes to human life and must be at the center of ethical reflection on biomedical research, which has an ever greater importance in today's world. And this is a picture that I show you in the video. We can see that life, it's really wonderful. It's a miracle that happens in the woman body, and this miracle continue to happen after when the embryo, fetus, child has been born already and continue to live. And from the first moment of the life till the end of the death, we explain and we say this is a person, and this is very important to use the right terminology, because when we can say, okay, this is its embryo or like pre-embryo, or it's only a couple of cells or one cell organism, it change everything. It's change completely the perspective. What is the life? It change completely logistic. It change by law perspective what we can do with this life. And as we are going to talk today, first I wanted to touch very quick and briefly the theme of abortion. And abortion is very open, unfortunately popular, and a very known situation that we deal with abortion for centuries. And really, if we can take in consideration and see the history, we can see how abortion has been implemented to different countries and societies, and also how they've been treated, if it was prohibited action, or maybe that action was more explained and really has been practiced. And we can see in different societies, we can see in Roman Empire, we can see in different countries, in Egypt, people know how to do abortion, how to interrupt the pregnancy for centuries. If they use some physical, or if they use some chemical through herbs or substance, all this stuff that it was already known. And abortion, we recognize abortion as a voluntary termination of the pregnancy. And this it's very important to know and to use this terminology, voluntary termination, because we can have also miscarriage or fetus demise, and that it's can happen by nature, and it's the same. It's a tragic situation. It's a very sad and very bad situation for the family, and we are going to lose the life as well. But it's changed the moral perspective as well of the act, because to be something unmoral, it has to be also that this act has to be voluntary provided. Also, we will go through some perspective that this abortion sometimes try to justify about different stages of development of embryo, or also of the autonomy of the human person, autonomy of the mom, who has the right to decide what to do with the embryo, with this life, with the human life that has inside in her. And I'm not definitely, you never will hear from me that I would diminish the every human right, freedom to of the action, but as we also in the previous lection, we talk about different principles, and it's very important to recognize what is autonomy without limits and what is a freedom with responsibility. And here that I'm talking again about personalism and principialism. What will be the difference between these two models, and how these two models can see this situation, this problem in a different perspective. One of the abortion that also has been done in the history is eugenic abortion. Eugenic abortion, we stopped to use this term long time ago, probably I would say 20 years, 25 years ago. It was more in the time on the Nazi during the World War II, when the Nazi wanted to implement the concept of the pure nation, and also this conception we can see in Sparta, in Rome Empire, in a different society during the history, when the society itself tried to implement this kind of treatment, or I wouldn't say treatment, but this kind of action that can prevent the born of people with the disabilities, with some physical or mental disabilities, etc. And this is malformation that can happen during this gestation time in the woman, that we cannot predict. We can probably have some, with our technology now, we can have some better understanding what is going on, and we have also I wouldn't probably go so deep in the term of how to, like, we have some different types of invasive or uninvasive technologies that we can see, and we can talk about some malformation of the embryo from the beginning of the life. And this prenatal diagnosis that can be used and is using now in the society, that can have a good impact and bad impact, because this prenatal diagnosis that brings to us only some small percentage, some percentage of the true, of the possibility that what happened with the embryo, because like we have some invasive techniques that in the time of 2, 3, 4 weeks we can really take some cells from the embryo, or like like it's after 2 weeks it started to build the placenta, the umbilical cord, and everything that we can take some cells from that part, and we can by technology we can see if this embryo has some genetic malformation that can create malformation, physical or mental malformation in the future. We have this opportunity and we have this technology right now, and this technology itself is a good technology that we can use it, but again, every moral act is very important to know and to have what is intents to use this or that technology. And if that intents is to use this technology to eventually provide the abort, eventually to provide the killing of the baby, that moral act, it will be unmoral itself. And now this eugenic abortion, it's a change in the techniques and in the terminology a little bit more to therapeutic abortion. And we will talk about therapeutic abortion a little bit later, but I wanted to mention you about also this particular eugenic abortion. Next one that we can talk, it's contraceptive abortion. And contraceptive abortion, definitely the church and the morality of the church wouldn't recognize and never will be recognized, because the act itself and also the meaning of the act and why we are doing this act, it's an evil itself, and we cannot justify this evil by any other good potential good intention. This potential good intention in these cases of contraceptive abortion can be different. Can be that the woman or the couple, and I definitely would like to make sure that when we are talking about abortion, when we are talking about conception of the new life, we are talking about the whole people as a family. We include father, we include mother, and we include baby, because sometimes I think it's very big mistake when people is only making a big attention on the mother and baby, but they don't include father in this process. But the father is also included to the process from the beginning till the end, and it's very important because this is also give our better understanding, and it's also is a responsibility of the parents to this new individual itself. So contraceptive abortions, that like I said, can be motivated by different moments, as we are not ready to have a new baby. Maybe society is not helping us. We don't have some material basic needs. Our life can be changed, will be changed, because we wouldn't be able probably to go to some university to continue our education, or maybe it will damage our work situation, and etc. And all of these motives, they are good and important motives, but the motive itself, as we also talk about double effect in the previous lection, we said the motive cannot justify the evil act itself. And in this situation, it's not equilibrium. We doesn't have this equilibrium between the good motive that can prevent this act and the bad action itself as a killing of the new person. And definitely it cannot be justified, and the church is not justifying this action and this contraceptive abortion. Also, I wanted to to make a point about therapeutic abortion. Most of the time, and many of our legislation acts in America, in Ukraine, in all countries in the world, they see in this act, they see in this action, abortion, as therapeutic act. Sometimes, and therapeutic act it's can be challenged using this situation, and can have some double meaning in this situation. What is really therapeutic abortion? Therapeutic abortion, how is the definition? It's like when voluntary termination of pregnancy is carried out with the intention of safeguarding the life or health of the mother. And the language is when the language is used, it's very broad language, and we will go through some specific examples. But when this broad language is brought to us and is brought to legislative system, we can really justify here many abortion, because to safeguard the life or health of the mother, it can be first of all, if we have the situation when the life of mom is in danger immediately or in potential danger, it's a first, and also it's the same, health of the mother in danger immediately in this moment, or in danger potentially. And also health of the mother, what kind of the health of the mother we are talking about, because right now most of the country recognize the health as a unity of physical, mental, and spiritual dimension. In this situation we can also talk, and law itself is mentioning to us that health can be safeguarding from different perspectives. And even if somebody will have some potential danger, a moral potential danger, because of the current pregnancy, it can be justified and can be provided abortion in this situation. And we have different also examples. We don't have a time that I wouldn't go and I wouldn't really analyze the law of different countries to see all of this. I know that yeah, here in America, every state we have a different perspective. We have some more conservative, I would say, or like how they use this terminology, and some has more liberal perspective. In Ukraine, I know that abortion is justified up to 28 weeks of gestation stage. Okay, and therapeutic abortion also. I wanted to now to go with you about therapeutic abortion through two different dimensions, two different aspects. First, when we're talking about saving the life of the mother, this is the most important. Saving the life of the mother can be because of the continuous pregnancy would cause the death of the mother with scientific certainty. In this case, we can recognize that continuation of the pregnancy would involve the certain death of both mother and child in one case, and in another case, continuation of the pregnancy would certainly involve the death of the mother, but with the hope of saving the child. And this can change some moral perspective and some action. What will be the moral action in this situation? In another state, we are talking about health. We are talking about to safeguard the health of the mother. And here, as already mentioned, that health can be seen in a different perspective from the different situation. And yes, the continuation of the pregnancy could pose a little risk to the life of the mother rather than some damage to her health. Continuation of the pregnancy could involve the pregnancy worsening of the health of the mother. Also, as this can be one of the reasons. There is simply a genetic concern about health understood at the state of complete physical, psychological, and emotional well-being, as well as also and sociological perspective as well. If we are talking about that sociological perspective, then the pregnancy can cause some sociological, economical damage to the health of the mother or of the parents. And all these aspects, they are very important. They are very important, but to provide some ethical and moral judgment, what will be really moral and ethically permitted, that we have to go through some different aspects. First of all, that the human person is the highest value in the world and transcends every other temporal good and every economic consideration. And this is, we are taking in consideration the personalism model. And as we all remember, personalism model of bioethics itself, first principle is to respect the human life. The human life is the biggest value and the biggest principle in this model. So the next one, even the so-called social reason cannot trump the value of the human life, not even the life of the single person. And regarding the therapeutic principles, the comparison between the health of the mother and the life of the fetus is imbalanced. Because as we also already talk that the health, and we can talk about the health. The value of the health is very important, but first it's the value of the human life in total. And in this situation, that we cannot kill the baby to save some health benefit of the mother. And the ethical obligation of society, science, and individuals require working to prevent situation of risk and health loss of pregnant women. With all this statement, I wanted to make the moral objectives that every physician, the duty of the physician is to preserve the life. That it's the most important, and preserve the life in this situation. It will be the life of both mom and child. And also direct killing that we see as a moral act, and we can do this immoral act to justify any of physical benefits or economical benefits. And talking about therapeutic pregnancy, so I mentioned first was conception about the life of the mom, and direct when the mom is losing the life is a baby, and in another case a baby can be safe, but we are losing the life of the mom. And another case, it's a health of the woman. The first one, when we have direct possibility and to lose both lives. Direct possibility to lose both life, I will leave on the end. I will come back in 1 minute to that discussion, and it's not so very easily, and we can also talk about double effect in this situation, the principle of double effect. When we have the situation when the both lives is in dangers, the moral obligation of the physician is to make sure and to do everything to safeguard both lives. To safeguard both lives. And here it's very important different aspects. For example, if the child, what is the gestation stage of the child? Because by the medical science, right now we have really the some percentage. I wouldn't say it's a big percentage, but at least that I think that I wouldn't be doing any mistake if I will tell that 15-20% of chance we have when we have a child after 24 weeks of gestation. Because till 24 weeks of gestation, all organs has been it's already completed and developed. After 24 weeks of gestation, the child is growing. But most of the time, when we are talking about abortion and therapeutic abortion, it's the first couple weeks, or maybe first, like it's a first trimester, but most of the time it's the first 5-10 weeks of pregnancy. And this is very important in this situation that the life of the child itself, if we have a dangers, it's very hard to safeguard the life of the child. And yes, in some situation, it's possible to safeguard the life of mom. And when we are talking about the physical, the health danger, it's a little bit different, because in the health danger, the health damage that can be provided by pregnancy wouldn't be justified to provide the abortion as a therapeutic abortion in any case, because the life itself, it's a bigger value than the health of the person. Also, I would like to implement two more aspects in this. First of all, we never have to diminish the emotional and spiritual state of mom and dad. And if we have the opportunity to help them emotionally, it's very also important. It's very needed. And we can talk technically, and really this is a technical language, but the moral aspect of every parent who is going through this different situation is also very important. And another aspect that I wanted to mention to you is also social aspect. And many of times when I'm working as a chaplain in the hospital, this kind of, we don't, like in my hospital, we don't do, we are not doing abortion in any kind of situation. Yes, through our process in our documents, it says that we can provide interruption of pregnancy in direct case of the damage of the damage to the life and health of the mother. We have this statement, but we are not doing, I know that our hospital, they're not doing abortion itself. Because like also as for the statement, and as it's a faith-based organization, and also most of the time if somebody is looking even for abortion, it's not a place where to go to do the abortion. It's like they're going to some abortion clinics where they can have abortion as well. But emotional, that I wanted to mention these two dynamics of moral aspect and social aspect, because many of the situation and the decision that is made to provide this aspect, to provide this abortion, is because the parents, they don't have enough support, moral support, they don't have enough social support. And social support can be different also. It can be provided by the government, can be provided by the county, also can be provided and has to be provided by the faith community that has to recognize and also respond to the needs of the couple in this kind of situation. That I don't want to stay on this theme so long. I wanted to mention to you a couple more stuff as I talk about direct damage to the human life. I would like to mention that we talk about the principle of the double effect, and this principle of double effect applies to action with the two effects, one good and one bad. In this case, it is illicit to proceed the action with a view to achieving the good effect, even if a negative and undesired effect result indirectly from it. What is this really involved, and what does this means? When we have, and somebody also asked me this question, I don't know if in this group or in Ukrainian group, but when we have ectopic pregnancy, and ectopic pregnancy, it's one of this kind of situation when it's very difficult situation, and also we have a direct damage to the human life. And in this case, we have this damage to the mother life and also to the life of the child. And this pregnancy happened very rare, but it still happen, and it's we have different reason why this pregnancy can happen. I'm not going through the technical situation, but this ectopic pregnancy usually when it happened when embryo after conception, when it's the cell started to divide itself, is going to be implemented to the uterus. And usually this implementation happen in the period up to 14 days. Around 14 days, and this is it happen ectopic pregnancy when this pregnancy started to develop in the fallopian tube, for example. It's like not in the uterus of mom, and this can create and will create the direct damage to the health and to the life of mom, because first of all, this pregnancy is very hard to identify unless it has, probably most of the time it can be identified after 2-3 weeks. When like we have 5-6 weeks, the embryo it's so big that can broke the fallopian tube, and with the bleeding and everything, life of the woman can be lost. And also in this situation, the baby, definitely the life of the baby will be lost. We have different perspective also about this ectopic pregnancy. In the general, when we using the double effect principle, we can say that this principle can justify and will justify this act that will cause abortion. But the abortion, it wouldn't be the primary action of the medical staff. First of all, and also to justify and see how this act can be moral or immoral, we have to also to go through some technical aspect how this interruption and action can be done, can be provided. And we have really couple of different medical treatment. First of all, we can wait. If the medical staff recognize this pregnancy in a very beginning, we can wait. We have a small window that we can wait and see if this pregnancy will be done or will be finish by itself. The natural process that can happen in the body of organism of the woman, that this embryo will go, and the woman will lose the pregnancy at this very beginning of the pregnancy, and it will be the natural system, and definitely this will be something that like it's a moral permissible, and as the nature of the body will do this itself, and we are not going to affect somehow. Another treatment, it's a salpingectomy. Salpingectomy, also considered morally permissible by a Catholic atheist under the principle of the double effect. What does this mean? Salpingectomy, that like how you can see in the on the picture, that where we can recognize the embryo, we can recognize the child, that this part of the fallopian tube will be moved out. It will be this procedure will be done surgically, and they will remove this part of the fallopian tube, and intention it will be to save the mom life, and as a double effect we are going to lose the life of the child. But its intention in this case, intention is not a direct to provide the abortion and to do the abortion itself. We have a couple more techniques that we can also use in this kind of situation. It can be salpingostomy. Salpingostomy, it's different from the first technique, because in this situation, and this technique can be done in the very early stage of gestation. In this technique, we don't have to remove the part of the fallopian tube. We only can cut the piece of the fallopian tube where we see and we can recognize the pregnancy, and remove the we remove the embryo. And in this case, it will be direct attention to provide and to do the abortion. The most Catholic atheists consider this as a morally impermissible act. And also we have one more, it's a use of methotrexate. Sorry if I'm pronouncing in the wrong way. It's a little bit hard to pronounce this technical word. This is we really don't have a good answer from the Catholic atheist. Some of them they telling that it's morally it's unmoral to do it. Some of them is telling that it's immoral to do it. But in 2 words, this technique it provides when we implement this medicine doesn't permit the embryo to develop in a full body, or like to develop itself. It stops when like this technique really stopping to develop the trophoblast. And when you can see the embryo on the picture, we have the inner cell mass, that we consider this is human life. All these cells, it's developed in the human, and it's a person. The trophoblast, this is the cells that are going around to help the embryo to develop, and it's also very important important for the life of the embryo, but itself it's not a embryo, or it's not the human itself. And this scientist is telling that as we are not damaged inner cell mass directly, that one it can be done by using the double effect as well. Okay, that I would like to move and go with you more. We are talking about now we are talking about embryo. embryo when we talk already in the case of abortion, the embryo, it's from the perspective of the biology or philosophy or different values, is a life. It's a human life, and we recognize embryo as a person. And we can definitely here mention about it's very important facts as a programmed, continuous, and intrinsically autonomous development. What does this mean? Because some of the theories and some of the aspect when some ethicists is using the embryo is not as a life itself. At least we have the heartbeat, or at least we have the spinal cord, etc. But from the how the Catholic Church and Catholic teaching is sees the embryo is part of the human life, because we can have and we can diagnose the age of the human life. And we can diagnose older person in mid-50s. We can diagnose the young person, teenager, newborn baby, embryo. Also, it's what is the part of time the human life is right now. And this is, it's like tells us, because the embryo, as we see from the moment of conception to cells as ovule and sperm, they come together and they started to, from the beginning, started to build the new organism. That's completely, it's a different from the parent's organism. It's a continuous process. It's a programmed itself. It's nobody is going to manipulate, and all these cells, they know where they have to do, what they have to form, and what part of the body they have to form. They have from the beginning. And even if somebody is telling us that, like, oh, it's like we cannot consider this as a human up to 14 days, because after 14 days we have the spinal cord. But the spinal cord, what is really spinal cord means, that it's aspects that of individual as a rational individual. But a rational individual, we can also see in the embryo how they create the blastocyst, how they create the inner cell body, how they create and develop in these cells, they develop in the different organs, in the heart, in the spinal cord, and all this stuff is already programmed, and it's a constant and continuous. So embryo, as somebody is telling us that, like, embryo is a potential human. No, embryo is a potentially child or an adult or an old man, but definitely a human from the beginning. Next, I would like to talk with you about human fertilization technologies. We have really different kind of fertilization technologies, and fertilization, what is really fertilization, artificial fertilization, is means that what is happening at the beginning of the life in the body of the woman. This is that can be help outside, or can be helped also by techniques inside in the body of the woman. And we can go, we have the long list, and this is, it's only not even a completed list of different methods of artificial fertilization, but I would like to mention to you some aspect of this human fertilization technique. First, homologous, heterologous, intracorporeal, and extracorporeal. What does this mean? Homologous, it's mean when the gametes, the sperm and ovo is coming from the same couple, marriage couple. Heterologous, when we have a donor, and in this case can be one donor or can be two donors. Can be donor of the sperm, and can be also donor of the ovule, and also can be donor for both of these gametes. Also, we can talk about intracorporeal insemination and extracorporeal insemination, fertilization. Intracorporeal, when the conception of the human being starts in the body of the mom, and extracorporeal when this conception is started in a laboratory, but after that, the embryo has been implemented to the uterus of the woman, and continued pregnancy is happening in the body of mom. And fundamental criteria to have some moral judgment in this kind of situation is the human integrity of the embryo. It's the most important. The unity of the marriage, it's very important, and also that the procreation of the human person be brought about as a fruit of the conjugal act specific to the love between spouses. These three elements that Donum Vitae and Dignitas Personae is bringing to our attention is very important to evaluate and see what will be help to this marriage act and to unity of the marriage to procreate the new life, and what will be ethically unpermissible or morally unmorally provided. Also with these two documents, Dignitas Personae and Donum Vitae, we can say that we will consider every heterologous artificial fertilization as unmoral. This is that we can take in consideration that every act or technique that will use the donor, we will see this as an immoral act, because it's already interrupt the unity of the marriage couple. The first and the second one, when these techniques of homologous artificial fertilization will substitute the marriage act. In this case, also, we will see this, the Catholic Church sees this technique as ethically inappropriate. Permitted technique can be seen, this technique who can help, the technique that can help of the marriage act and for the unity of the marriage. So we can, I wouldn't stop, I will send you also today, I will send to Father Roman the first slides. And I hope till the end of the week, I will send you also this slide as well, with every information that you can go. I'm not going now to see that also very important, the value of the conjugal act, the marriage act. It's a unity of the corporal and spirit expression of the marriage of the couple. Would like to go with you, as we have a couple more minutes, about a couple of the different techniques. First of all, it's intrauterine insemination. Intrauterine insemination itself, what does this mean? That intrauterine insemination, it's a process when the sperm has been, and again, we excluded every donor from our moral judgment and about this situation as morally unpermissible. We are talking about the marriage itself. And intrauterine insemination, it happens when the sperm has been proceeded from the husband and implemented to the uterus of the woman. We have different, definitely we have different kind of medical treatment, and also why the couple doesn't have this fertility and has to be helped with the techniques. I'm not going through this different aspect of why it's happening from the woman's side and from the man's side, but also we have to take in consideration aspect, this physiological aspect, why it's happening, and why the couple needs this support, technical support. And not of every of these techniques can be implemented to every woman, because if, for example, I don't know, like it's like in this technique, if something happen and we have some interruption of the fallopian tubes, and this technique can be help in the situation when fallopian tubes is not functioning, and but the conception can happen in the uterus of mom. And intrauterine insemination itself that permitted by the church, but with some aspects. This is also, again, our Dignitas Persona and Donum Vitae. It tells us that homologous artificial insemination within marriage cannot be admitted except for those cases in which the technical means is not substituted for the conjugal act, but serves to facilitate and to help, so that the act attains its natural purpose. And this is very important situation and aspect of the document, that yes, the church explain, and church also trying to find a different aspect how this couple can be supported. And this technique has been seen as morally permissible, only that the one ethical issue with this technique, that how to really have this unity of the marriage act. And what does this mean? That because as we are talking about insemination, artificial insemination, that we have to deliberate the sperm to provide this sperm to woman uterus. And in this case, we can talk about a couple different aspects. If the sperm can be proceeded during the marriage act, if the sperm can be proceeded after the marriage act or before the marriage act. And this can change the moral perspective, because if the sperm, for example, can be proceeded instead or before the marriage act, it's like by the act of the masturbation, that act itself is already seen as unmoral, and we cannot use this unmoral act to bring and to reach something what is physically good for the couple. There's some moral aspect or some moral act that can be used in this situation, can be used condom perforated. It's mean that like during the marriage act, this sperm can be delivered and use a condom, but the condom perforated with some holes, that the act itself will be open for the procreation, but also it will be possible to deliver the enough sperm to provide this technique, to provide the insemination to the uterus of the woman. So with this, I would like to move on and talk about a little bit more. I will tell you only like two words before I will stop. I see that like we don't have any more time, but this is another intracorporeal fecundation. The name, it's a gift, gamete in fallopian tube transfer. What does this mean? When we have the situation that from the side of the man or from the side of the woman, we have some complications that the first technique cannot be provided. And in this situation that most likely when oval wouldn't be able to naturally come through the fallopian tube to the uterus, in this situation, we have to provide the sperm and ovo from both partners. And we have to take them outside, and we have to bring them so close and deliver them to uterus or at the beginning of the fallopian tube. It depends of the situation, medical and physical situation of the woman, that conception can be happen in the uterus in the woman. It's the same, will be the same principle. The Catholic documents, it's not telling us openly that like it's a morally permitted or morally not permitted act, but telling you true, I wrote my dissertation for my master in bioethics in Italy about these techniques, and in my dissertation I proposed and also I defend this method as can be used as morally morally permitted act to help marriage couple to have to have a baby. And it will be the same kind of moral aspect as to deliver, how to deliver the sperm, how to really be as close as possible to help the marriage act and don't interrupt the marriage act, and to respect the marriage couple. It will be the same as intrauterine insemination, only that the difference will be that in the first one we deliver only the sperm, in the second one we deliver sperm all together, put him very close. Most of the times they really separated by the air ball, and we deliver them to the uterus of the woman. Okay, I will stop myself here. Next time we will continue. I will have only one technique to finish, and after that we will go and we will also talk about experiments on the embryons. We will talk about stem cells and adoption of embryo and etc. If you have, I see David, you have an arm, please.
Yes, two questions. One, I tried looking in our catechism, but it didn't address it. For in vitro artificial insemination, it's not allowed, but what happens to the child when the child is born? Let's say the mother comes to repent and sees the errors of her ways and wants a child baptized into the Catholic faith, and she becomes a Catholic. Is that child allowed to be baptized in the Catholic Church, even though its conception was illicit? And second, I would like to know if you would speak about your vocation a little bit. The only time I've ever heard about chaplains is about in the military and stuff. I had a question about your vocation as in the hospital, if you're allowed to give women the sacraments, like extreme unction, or in the case of when the child is born and it's about to die, you're allowed to baptize and stuff like that. If you would speak on that a little bit, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, the first question. You see, we are going to. It's very hard to. And the church, as the document of the church, doesn't give us the perspective that like we don't have to recognize the child born in vitro as less human as we recognize in other lives. This is that like I never met this conception, and as a manipulation can happen, doesn't permit us to disrespect the person who is potentially and like in the from the beginning is innocent. because really this child that has been born through in vitro process is already I would say in transcendental aspect will be, it's not different or suffer, but it's something already done from the not ethical perspective. And from my point, it will be unethically to separate or unethically to treat these people, these persons disrespectfully or without access to the sacraments, so emotional, social, spiritual, physical benefits. Yes, that like it will be unethically and unfair to do that. About my vocation and about the chaplaincy, I'm how I have a chaplain, also the army chaplain with me right now. He is already retired from army, and we are on a duty in the hospital together. As a chaplain in the hospital, my duty is to provide emotional, spiritual, and social support to the patient, to the families, and to the medical personnel. And this is very important. And as a chaplain, I'm not ordained as a priest yet. I am a subdeacon, and I can regarding the sacraments. I'm usually that we have very good collaboration with the different faith-based organization or communities in the time of the need to provide this sacrament. By myself, I've been able, when like we had very close life danger situation, I provided a baptism to couple of kids. It was born kids whose the life was in immediate danger, and they died in minutes or maybe even less. Also, sometimes we are in a situation when the mom, she knows that the death of the child is going to occur right at the beginning, right after the delivery process. And in this kind of situation, the patient, we have some patients already, patient ask us to come with them to the delivery room, or it will sometimes can be C-section in the surgical area, and to provide the baptism. We are not definitely dealing with the delivery process or with the C-section, but when the baby is already delivered, we baptize the baby immediately in the process, in the first moment before the baby, because like if encephalopathy, in the case of the encephalopathy, in the case of some not developed lungs, etc., this baby will die in really couple minutes. They wouldn't live long, and like we try to really accomplish and be there with the parents at the moment when it's needed.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think we can have one more question, and I will run and we'll go to next group.
I guess you might have answered it for me, but like, well, whenever you're talking about the assisted reproduction techniques, I kept thinking, okay, where for that to occur, where are they getting the sperm from, if not by masturbation? How?
If it's not from masturbation, in that techniques that, as I said, we can deliver the sperm from the marriage act itself, using the condom my goodness, what is the name? It's a condom with holes. And what is this means that the act itself will be delivered, marriage act, it will be open for the procreation. It wouldn't be this condom, it wouldn't be the contraception. it wouldn't be the barrier contraceptive, but in this situation, this condom will permit to also deliver some part of the sperm in a natural process to use this sperm in the insemination process after in the laboratory. And in this situation, this technique can be used and will be completely morally acceptable from the Catholic Church as help in the marriage couple, in the marriage act to reach this procreation moment.
Gotcha.
Okay, I will leave you here as I have to go to another group. I really thank you so much. He definitely trying to give you as much as I can. I will try to go even a little bit more faster because I have a little bit more interesting time also, and I would like to have more conversation with you. But please, if you have any question that I didn't answer yet, or something that you would like to mention, you have some life situation, some life story, send to me. I will be more than glad to read them, and I will probably next time I will talk with you about what will be the our like homework for the end of our course, and I will let you know more in the details how I will see, and also see that if you will have any observation about that as well. Okay, have a beautiful and blessed rest of the day, Sunday, blessed Sunday, and beautiful next week, and I will see you in 1 week.
Thank you.
Bye bye everyone.